Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about No Sudden Move. This is the latest film from Steven Soderbergh. It is his part of his big HBO Max deal to make films specifically for the streaming service. And this was, I think, one of the few movies he has a Meryl Streep one as well. But this movie is a very kind of tight heist gangster film, the kind of thing you've seen him do before and even riff on before more recently, but this is kind of an entirely different really endeavor, as it is both a really interesting weaving, conniving kind of noir heist thriller sort of thing, but also trying to make a statement on capitalism, which seems to be a particularly interesting topic for Steven Soderbergh as of recently. If you look at things like High Flying Bird, which is a film I like a lot, and The Laundromat and many others, this as well ends up first feeling like one of those kind of smarter adult thrillers where you feel like things are shifting in almost every scene, but you almost sort of don't understand. You sort of just enjoy the ride, but then you find out is really just a statement on the sort of dog-eat-dog world of capitalism and how there are various different layers of it playing against you at all times. I really love that about this movie. I like what Steven Soderbergh is doing currently. I'm quite a fan. I think most film critics are, which is why most of their reviews are just talking about how cool he is, and he is, and I get it. But this movie is better than just praising Soderbergh in a review and stuff. It is more than that. Not to throw shade, but I get it. I do get it. Trust me. But what he is doing here is more showing you the indebted nature that has been going on this entire time and how that fits so perfectly into the heist film, the noir, what we understand as a crime film, and what's the greater crime going on at the time, even if the criminal is maybe the reason all of this happened. He is not the biggest crook of the bunch. Now, I can't really get into too much of the plot because I really don't want to spoil it, but I will say kind of what you can say about it that's not ruining it. Don Cheadle and Benicio del Toro are teamed up on a job. They've not met each other before. They basically work for I wouldn't say rival gangs, but different gangs right outside of Detroit. In Detroit, they're brought together by a gangster played by Brendan Fraser, who's really great in this actually, and they come together to do basically a babysitting job with Kieran Culkin, where Kieran Culkin takes this father in a household to go get these plans that they're going to abduct, and they're going to use, them holding his wife and family hostage to get these plans and return it to their crime boss, and they will be paid handsomely. And of course, things go wrong and there are complications, let's say. This is, I think, has an amazing cast in it that's really cannot be over. In fact, I could just list people off who I can remember or from Wikipedia, and I'm sure there's like somebody I forgot because I thought there's a lot of good actors in here and I like them a lot. I will also say most reviews, I see a movie like once and I wanted to give this film a second chance because I really liked it, and I feel like thrillers like this, there's almost too much going on, and I just fell in love with this movie. So, I really liked it. I like Soderbergh, what he's doing. He's been a filmmaker I've been following since I got into movies. He's making The Limey and Out of Sight and all this cool stuff. But he's able to use a interesting, cool cast. He's, I know there's like the whole idea of casting like big, overcasting movie stars, but it feels like even if you're in a small role, he has some fun to do with you. He has, Don Cheadle, Benicio del Toro. David Harbour is actually really funny and amazing in this. Amy Seitz's Brendan Fraser is great as a gangster. Kieran Culkin, who works as this like fast-talking gangster. Julia Fox. I like Julia Fox. Everyone said she didn't have enough to do. I thought she worked great in this, but I don't know. I think she's a great actress, actually. I know everybody is like really horny on Maine for her, but like she's also a good actress as well as being very attractive. Ray Liotta, John Hamm, basically playing who he played in The Town, but he's really good at that role. I wish we just let him do that more. Probably more others that I can't all remember, but just the cast in this is amazing, and it shows you what Soderbergh is really good at when working with this cast. This was developed by him and Ed Solomon, who also wrote the Bill and Ted movies and Men in Black and stuff. He's a great screenwriter. I like when I've noticed Soderbergh works well, and this reminds me, I guess, of High Flying Bird, because when he works with a writer, particular writer, it seems like he even noted apparently at a certain point that he works better directing someone else's material than writing his own. Him working with Ed Solomon, they made quite an interesting kind of film of this, but I know they were considering making like sort of an Oceansy sort of thing, and much like how Logan Lucky was a kind of a, you know, Kentucky Fried, I guess, version of Ocean's 11, this is a turn of it and a twist on it as well, which I think Soderbergh in his 2010s period, when he was doing spins on like Haywire, was a spin on the martial arts film. Instead of casting like having it be a male led, they had Gina Carano playing the female one, which might have been regrettable in the long run, but that movie is good, and I don't think he knew at the time all of that stuff, that she could fight good, and she could. Or same with like Magic Mike, like have a male stripper movie, put things on its head, switch things up, make comments on genre through your direction. And he does that in here, but what I like about this, and I think it's an even smarter twist on the kind of heist thing than, you know, just having the fun and playing, which I think he does here. This is very, you know, he's specified on a podcast, there's, you know, this is a movie, not a film, like whatever. I would love to hear him talk about it, but I think it's a little silly. But what I do think he does here in taking that heist genre, and noir is noir, you never trusted what was going on. There's always this distrust of society in the world, and having noir mixed with a heist thing, mixed with our current view of capitalism, mixes so well together. You kind of wish we were making noirs not like that. If we're making neo-noirs, and it wasn't just like some moody thing or whatever. But, you know, I don't know. This understands those genres and why he's playing with them and what he's saying with those things, as well as he shoots it in an interesting way, or Peter Andrews did. He shoots it in an interesting way where he uses different lenses to make it look more 50s. I know this was inspired by the director Robert Sidemock, I think. Sidemock, I've seen some of his stuff. I'm not an expert on him at all, but I've seen The Killers at least, and I think another one. The way he used the lenses is this. At first, it's very jarring on the first watch. When I watched it the second time, I didn't notice it as much. I was just more into the story and what it was doing. I actually think because this film used those lenses, if you are a little confused by it, I would recommend watching this a second time. It's not necessarily that it's the most complicated movie in the world, but I heard if you saw this in a theater projected, it wasn't as noticeable, but I liked the lenses. It kind of gave it a fisheye approach, a little almost like the screen is bending or something, kind of twisting and turning, almost like the movie itself. Maybe that was the point, but I like what he did with the lenses. I like what he does cinematography wise. He's probably one of the few directors who likes to play with that, other than, you know, having like a really beautiful cinematographer or something like that, which at a certain point is nice to look at but can get boring. I like that he has interesting things to say with it. It reminded me of kind of the looser vibe of, like, you know, more independent 50s films at the time, or 60s films, as well as, you know, noir and things like that. Noir, studio noir, they didn't play as much. I know some of that director did a little bit, but not like what he's doing, but I haven't seen that director in a while, so I might be a little off on that. I thought it was actually really cool. I've read people who didn't like it, but you don't really want to listen to their film opinions. If they think, oh, Weird Lens is pretentious, then, you know, they might be a little too pretentious to get it. I really got into this movie, and I liked what it was doing with the heist and thriller kind of thing. Having Benicio del Toro and Don Cheadle together, I mean, that's the kind of team up I want to see. Like, two really great esteemed actors who maybe aren't kind of opening a huge movie or something, but you knew can do a great performance. Don Cheadle is really great with like this cool gravelly kind of a voice. It's like both him and Benicio del Toro, just between their physicality and the way they speak and the way they move, you understand their experiences the entire time. They almost don't need to tell you. I mean, his character's right out of jail. Benicio del Toro's character is like sleeping with the boss's wife. All these crazy things between the two, but you can tell their experiences from the way they walk, the way they interact, and how they just sort of trust one another. It's interesting seeing them together, and it's just you know, this is the kind of stuff, like, I think one of the things I really like about this is most of the time when a director wants to make a weirder movie like this, they need to have a movie star at the helm. And I'm not saying Don Cheadle isn't a movie star to a degree, but he's not like a movie star, and I sort of like that about this, that it doesn't really do that. I mean, I know he's in the MCU and Space Jam and all that stuff. He just seems like almost more of a character actor, which I think this film almost is like entirely kind of like a character actor kind of movie, which is also an amazing thing to watch with this. It almost like he brings out more character actor performances. I really do think Brendan Fraser needs to be the heavy in more kind of movies. I just really love him in this. Benicio del Toro as well, who I'll circle back to now, I think was just, it's nice seeing him in a thriller in this way, but also like, I think a lot of the actors in this, like, you can tell they're having fun, but you can tell they're just not like loosely having fun. This feels a little more controlled than the Ocean's films, which I kind of liked about it. I'm not the biggest Ocean's 11 fan, and maybe I need to rewatch those because I am a Soderbergh, but it seems like everybody loves those things, and I just never got as into them as everybody else. But supposedly they're a lot of fun. So, But what I think when you come down to No Sudden Move, what works the best, I think, about it is what it's trying to use the heist genre, what it's trying to use the noir genre, and why it's mixing them together and saying about 1950s Detroit and why they're on this job and everything like that. I think a lot of these genres say something about, characters morally or about society of the time and things like that. But I think what Soderbergh does, and Ed Solomon does with this story, is they're combining those to tell you how kind of nefarious and untrustworthy all of that kind of world really was, going all the way to the top. And it angers you what's going on. I think some people have felt some things like came out of nowhere towards the end, but I think it shows you how little control all of us really have in a world that is, always trying to take advantage of everyone so someone can make a quick buck. And I can't think of something that's more noir, more like a heist movie, than the sentiment that runs through this entire film and runs through capitalism and is the evil, cynical world that we sadly can't escape. But maybe if you have that opportunity, you can one up them a little bit, and maybe, just maybe, you can have the opportunity and the heist to hopefully get out and not to have to be as stuck in the system as you once were. And I think No Sudden Move is one of the few heist films that they're not. A lot of heist films talk about freedom, but I don't think a lot of them talk about freedom from capitalism, at least the way this movie has been made to do, and shows you the evil and why you'd want to be free in the first place. So if you have seen No Sudden Move and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.